Welcome Exiles to Theory Crafting Explosive Concoction. The bottle throwing bombs, the Molotov cocktails. This is one of the skills I thought looked really cool. Now before we get into the gem details, I wanted to play in kind of slow motion for you guys what the skill looks like in the preview they gave us. To start off with, this is the gem level. Basically, no support gems. This is pretty much right out of the gate you get it. You get it at level 28. This is Act 4. So I'm assuming this is what it's going to be like at the baseline. This is no AoE investment. This isn't anything special going on here. It's looking like it has a pretty solid radius to begin with. So with some area of effect investment, that AoE can get pretty solid. It's got some nice explosion effects to it. Probably should have made it a little bit faster than 0.25 speed. But you can see in the middle of that pick, it hits most of them. This can be supported by GMP, which is what they show later on. And I am of the belief that this ability shotguns. It looks like it should shotgun. It's an explosive attack that lands in an area, and the attack can very much overlap, and it easily overlaps. There's a lot of things that shotgun in the game. This would make sense to shotgun. Based on the damage numbers, if it doesn't shotgun, going hit-based with it, I think it's just going to be strictly worse than other abilities like Elemental Hit. But if it does shotgun, then I think it has a whole lot of potential to be a really strong ability. I didn't realize how long he was in Blood Aqueducts, but here's the updated example of when they have some support gems with it. When they're using GMP, they're using Dying Sun. You're lobbying out just a huge carpet bomb. And these are definitely, in my opinion, able to overlap very well. I think you can pretty much hit a boss with every single projectile you throw out, considering the one all the way on the right is going all the way AoE-wise into the center, and the one all the way on the left is doing a similar thing. If you invest into some AoE, I can't see you not being able to hit with all projectiles, and I think that's going to be the strength of this support gem, or not the support gem, of this ability. Looking at the ability itself, it has some potential to be a decent ignite skill, I think, but I think the strongest portion of this skill is going to be shotgunning. If you're stacking some GMP, a little bit of extra projectiles from different sources you maybe can get into the build, like Dying Sun as well, stuff like that, I think you can get a huge, heavy-hitting, attack-based build. Now, for me personally, the way I wanted to theory craft this, or when I was looking at this, initially you think explosive concoctions, it's designed around a flash charge system and whatnot. You probably are thinking Pathfinder, but for me, I went straight to, if you'd believe it, Elementalist. The Ascendancy that just got butchered. Well, a big part of it got butchered. The rest of the Ascendancy is still very, very good, in my opinion. The golem nodes are they're not alive anymore. The ambulance came in, took the bodies, and I haven't seen them since. But point is, Elementalist, why am I choosing this over Pathfinder? To start off with, I think Pathfinder is a little bit of a bait because the charges you consume, every time you attack, you consume 3 charges. If you invest into any attack speed, that means you're going to be consuming up to 3 charges a second. With Pathfinder alone, you only get, I think it's 3 charges every 3 seconds. You can scale this up to maybe 6 charges every 3 seconds if you really invest into it. But that's investing just to make your charge sustain good on the additional damage from Explosive Concoction, which I don't think is necessarily the right play. I think it's a better play to have a stronger damage ascendancy, and you proc your Dying Sun, and you just burst damage the boss down with the 30, 50 charges or whatever. Gives you like 15 attacks where you can hit him 15 times. You just kill the boss in those attacks, rather than to worry about being a Pathfinder to try to sustain that extra damage. I think it's better to just come in with a whole lot of extra damage to begin with. And I think during mapping, you're going to sustain charges anyways. I believe that's going to be the case. We'll see. Maybe the flash charge change makes charges just not sustainable at all, even while you're mapping, but I think it'll be fine, since maps are usually very, very dense with monsters. So that's kind of the reason why I'm thinking Elementalist. On top of that, the other reason I wanted to do Elementalist was for a few reasons. One, Heart of Destruction, playing with this while mapping, that 60% AoE just feels so good. I'm addicted to this node. The AoE it's a drug, and I can't get off of it. And I'm just picturing how awesome the explosive concoction is going to look with Heart of Destruction, mixing in AoE nodes here, mixing in AoE nodes here. It's going to be a huge chain reaction of explosions every time I lob, you know, 6, 5, 7 of those bottles out with, you know, Dying Sun as well included. I like the AoE. Mastermind of Discord, minus 25 res, huge damage nodes. I like that. And then the other main reason I want to do Elementalist is because one thing I never got to do last league, which was do a really nice reverse chill build around using Malagaros and Replica Winterheart. This is part of the reason why this isn't necessarily going to be a good starter build, is because Replica Winterheart is a heist replica unique, which means it's going to be very expensive the first couple weeks, more than likely, because no one's going to run heist, because no one likes heist, because heist isn't fun. And it's part of the reason why I don't think I can league start this. This is one of the abilities I really want to league start, but I know I'm thinking about it. Things I want, Viridi's Veil, Replica Winterheart, I'm thinking these things are going to be pretty rough to come by. The point is, the plan is, get Winterweave with Malagaros. We will then get a Cold Concoction Cluster Jewel, which means when we chill an enemy, we also shock an enemy, and Malagaros makes that shock reflect back to us, and I believe the mechanic also makes the chill that, or the shock we inflict also inflict a chill on us, I believe is how it works, and we should be able to get a 40% chill on ourselves that we reverse chill for 40% action speed, and then we get some movement speed from Malagaros Restraint. I want to kind of be pretty zoomy, so I want to be a speedy runner, throwing out carpet bombs everywhere. That's kind of the idea I'm going with. And then I get Replica Winterheart, so we get unaffected by shock. This means we only have to deal with Ignite and freezes. And my plan for freezes are Brine King, getting cannot be frozen if you've been frozen recently, and add in that with a Trigger Flask that removes freeze when we get frozen. So my plan is, if we get frozen, we have the Trigger Flask that removes freeze on freeze, and then we have 4 seconds where we can't be frozen again, so it maybe still feels like a pseudo freeze immunity. That's kind of my plan, my thinking behind that. And then Ignite, I'm just going to be okay with occasionally dying to Ignite, I think. We'll see, maybe I'll change my mind if I start dying to Ignite a lot. And then last but not least, the other big portion of this build, before I get into the tree, is I want to do Viridi's Veil. One, because there's no Curse Immune Flask, so there's no better time to start using this item just to get Curse Immunity. And two, because they nerf support gems, there's a thing they didn't nerf, and that's gem level scaling. Gem level scaling used to be, depending on how hard you went into it, it used to be a little bit worse than going for a 6-link setup, like a 4-link setup with +6 levels on a helmet per se, used to be a little bit worse than a 6-link setup. Now that they're nerfing support gems, I think the scaling of gem levels is going to end up coming out ahead. So I'm thinking getting one of these helmets with a corrupted +2 of fire, lightning, cold, whatever +2 corruptions I can get. There's a lot of ones that match the tag of explosive concoction. So that's one of the things I'm going to be really looking out for. I think it's going to be a cool addition to the build. And the rest of the gear I'm just going to end up filling up with energy shield slots, because I decided I think I'd go CI with this. It feels weird, this tree, to me, because most of my damage cluster, or most of my damage nodes, are going to be in cluster jewels, because it's an attack skill. Things I know about scaling attack skills that aren't claws, that aren't swords, when I've scaled like shield charge and shield throw in the past, I've noticed one thing, and that's the tree itself sucks for scaling that damage, but you can scale it decently with cluster jewels. So my plan is to do a similar thing here and scaling a lot of my attack damage based on cluster jewels. The one awkward part of this tree is I am traveling all the way out here for point blank. I'm not sure I'm sold on doing this yet. I eventually, when I get to the point of actually making this build, which I'm pretty interested in doing, I think I might do it as my second or third build of the league. I'm gonna probably have to think this over more carefully if this is really worth the traveling. It just looks so painfully far. It looks like there's probably something I can maybe put these passes into better, so I'm gonna think about it more. But the general idea of my plan is grab ES on the tree, grab AoE on the tree, and then grab our main damage nodes on the cluster jewels. So that is kind of the plan I have for explosive concoction here. I think this has potential to be really, really powerful because of the shotgunning. And if it doesn't shotgun, then it's dead on arrival. And that's part of the reason why I'm more hesitant to league start it. Because there's stuff I could do that doesn't require the expensive uniques early on that could still like work and run with. But that being said, if it doesn't shotgun, I kind of feel like this is an Ignite skill only. If it doesn't shotgun, in my opinion, it's just going to be strictly a lot less damage than skills like Elemental Hit, which have the same base damage, but you can use a weapon. You know, stuff like that is pretty big in terms of how much damage you can get out of the ability. This being that we have to be unarmed, we have to work with unarmed attack speed, we have to work with not being able to grab specific weapon nodes for it, stuff like that, all puts it a little bit behind Elemental Hit, but I think it makes up for it and then some if we can shotgun, so I'm pretty sure we'll be able to. We'll see. I'm definitely considering this as a second or third build. I'm really excited about it, so I'll leave the base skeleton of the tree in the POB in the description below if you guys are curious to check it out. But that's how I am theorizing going about using Explosive Concoction. I think it's one of the coolest abilities. If you guys have theories about how to build around it too, let me know what you guys think. Do you think it can shotgun? Do you think it won't shotgun? I don't know. We'll see. Either way, I'm pretty pumped about the skill. I'm hoping first it has a good, strong second or third build of the league. That's my plans. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this theory craft. Peace out.